First Warning MMA Report is joined live by Alex Gilpin out of Chosen Few. Alex, thanks for joining the show today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
We want to take a couple seconds to acknowledge our sponsors, Andy Mack Fishing Guidance Service, Hylage Masonry, Kiss My Fist Medco, the absolute hardest hitting edibles on the planet, and Jackson Yard Care. You have the right to a beautiful yard. Alex, for those that haven't been following your career so far, tell us a little about your combat sports background and how you ended up at the Chosen Few gym.
So started wrestling in high school, grew up in Texas, ended up getting a scholarship to UW Madison. Only wrestled there for a year, but then about 2 years later started training MMA and haven't looked back ever since. So
was that something that was in the cards the entire time, or was it when you got to Wisconsin you decided, you know what, I might try this MMA thing?
Yeah, so even before I started wrestling, I saw The Ultimate Fighter and just some MMA events at people's houses or wherever I was at. So thought it was a really cool sport. Like the mano-a-mano aspect of it, and saw there were like a lot of successful like wrestlers doing it. And just I don't know, wrestling just seemed like it'd be a cool sport. So I ended up doing it in high school. Later on in the high school, it's like in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, I mean, if I have what it takes to be good at wrestling, take that same mindset to what it has to take to be good at MMA, you know, I think I can do it. And then after my college career was over, it's in the back of my mind.
Sure.
And it's kind of delayed the process. Finally, I started training, and a couple months later, took my first fight. And yeah, here we are.
Do you think wrestling is the best base to get into MMA, or do you think you know? What's your opinion on that?
Personally, I do, but I think you don't have to be like have a wrestling background to be successful. Now you have to be a decent wrestler to be successful in the sport,
Sure.
But at least for the MMA aspect, like MMA wrestling. But I mean, there's people. I just think if you have what it takes to be good at one thing, you have what it takes to be good at whatever you put your mind to.
Sure. So coming in MMA with that, you know, that strong wrestling base, how long did it take you to, you know, start feeling comfortable in every, you know, the other aspects of mixed martial arts?
I happened to pick up jiu-jitsu really quick. I don't know if it was just my mind, my brain, how obsessed I was with it, or just my wrestling style translated pretty well. And then, you know, picked that up pretty quick. Striking, I like to think I'm a fairly athletic person, so I you know, picked it up pretty quick, like as far as the technique and, you know, when you're hitting mitts and shadow boxing, I look good. But then if somebody was in front of me, you know, sparring is a completely different situation. So then it took me a while to get decent at sparring. Then after that, it takes you a while to translate the sparring from the gym, depending on who you are, to showcasing that in the cage. And then that took me years. And I'm still developing.
Sure. So, you know, you've been on the...
And then putting it all together is probably the most crucial aspect, you know, once you get pretty good at everything. And that's what makes and breaks everybody.
Sure. You know, you've been on the, you know, on the regional scene, you know, you were nationally at LFA and you were on Dana White's Contender Series. Tell us a little about your experience with PFL and what was it about PFL that stood out to you and said, you know, this is the place I should be?
So, yeah, you know, I was kind of waiting on a short notice call from the UFC or maybe, you know, enough like 8 weeks notice, whatever it was. I was kind of injured after Contender Series. So I was like, delayed that process a little, you know, I didn't get signed right away. So after I healed up, I was ready to go. I got my weight down and months were kind of going by and I just wasn't getting the call. And it's like, maybe they'll have me back for a Contender again next year, or maybe I'm forgotten about, or, you know, let's look at some of these other organizations for now. In PFL, you know, I'd be a liar if I wasn't attracted to that $1 million prize that I'm shooting for next Tuesday. But, you know, also the tournament format and the no politics, no opinions, like it don't matter. There's criteria and there's a format. And that's what's brought me here today. So
do you like
they reward finishers? So
yeah. Do you like the tournament format? Is that something that you think we should see more of, you know, in other organizations?
Yeah, I love it, man. Personally, you win in advance. You know what I mean? The 2 fights in a night, it's an exciting thing. I would say maybe give it a few more weeks after each fight, a little bit bigger of a break, I should say. But other than that, no complaints, man. I love this organization. I couldn't be happier to be a part of it. So.
What is it like competing so twice in one night? You go out there, you know, you have all the adrenaline, and then you kind of got to go back in the locker room, and then, you know, you're kind of resting. Is it hard to get amped up, or you tell us about that?
Kind of depends on how your first fight goes, right? Regardless, you're going to have some sort of adrenaline dump or whatever. I mean, nobody really knows the condition you're in. They think you're 100% going after that second time, 45 minutes or hour later, whatever it is. And But it's kind of the same for everybody. It just depends, and you got to work with what you got and just leave it on the line out there.
Yeah, no, you looked fantastic in every one of your your PFL fights. You became the first guy to defeat Andre Harrison, stop him in the cage. What was the game plan going into that fight with Harrison?
I want to test him out on the feet. Use some of my wrestling, get some exchanges on the feet. Use my wrestling to set up my strikes. When I saw an opening for a takedown, I was going to take it. I got one right away. I almost had a submission right off the get go, but then he kind of got on top, landed some pretty good ground and pound on me, but ended up getting up. And then second round, that was kind of what I was shooting for, was a submission that fight, and I got it. I thought I'd get it from the top, but I ended up getting it kind of with my back against the cage. A little different. That's something I do in practice all the time. So, happy with the end result. Always, regardless what happens in a fight, though, there's always things you can take from it, things I could work on. And so overall, happy with the result. But, man, I'm my own worst critic, no matter how a fight goes. And I break things down. I watch my own fights over 100 times. And
really? So let's talk about you have an enormous opportunity in front of you, and not many people in the world are going to experience what you're going to experience. You're fighting Lance Palmer for the third time. This is a guy that you've been in the cage with twice. You've seen everything he has to offer. How do you feel just days out from that fight?
Yeah, man, I feel great. I'm just ever evolving each fight, getting better. And, we broke him down, and, man, I just want to showcase what I've been working on, and honestly, how much I've improved in a short period of time. And I've been having damn near 100% of my health with me. 100% of my health, and looking to go out there and put on a show and a good performance and getting the job done.
So, like I said before, this is a guy you fought twice before. Where do you see yourself having the most success in this next fight?
Wherever the fight wants to go, whether that's me landing on the feet, doing damage, whether that's me taking him down, whether I get taken down if I'm going to get back up or get a submission off my back, or in the transition, anywhere really. And I want some sort of finish, though.
Sure.
That's what I'm looking to do. So.
You come from a fantastic.
But if it has to go all 25 minutes, I'm ready to do that.
Yeah, you come from a fantastic gym at Chosen Few. You have a lot of fantastic training partners. Obviously, Alex Polizzi, Dante Shiro, Mark Lemminger. Fantastic coaches, Josh Sterry and Damian and Kane. Have you guys been after this? The phone call came and you knew you were going to compete for the $1 million. Did you guys come back together and say, we're going to come up with a new game plan for Palmer, or is it just we're just going to get to work and a fight's a fight and we're going to see what happens?
It's just ever evolving in each aspect. And I broke down just anything that's gone wrong in the past and corrected it. And I've just added to the toolbox. And each time I step in that cage, I get more and more comfortable, especially on that big stage under the lights. And, this isn't a new experience for me now. I mean, obviously fighting for that prize, but being in the PFL, being a big, not a headliner of this fight, but it's not really anything new. I've been here before now. It's just, we got 25 minutes on that clock now, which I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, in that first fight with Palmer, you had some real close moments where I thought, watching, I said, I think that submission is deep. I think he's got it. Did you think at any point in time during the fight that you had anything locked up?
Two of those ninja choke. Well, I want to say one of them was pretty close, and then the guillotine, his head was popping out. It wasn't. I didn't want to overcommit to that and blow it out. Thinking back, I was down on the scorecard, so I probably should have, but end result was the end result. Some small adjustments that fight could make a completely different. But yeah, I'd say one submission was close, but I didn't get it done, so why dwell on it?
Right. Starting off, fighting in, you were at the Monona Terrace and you've been at, Mystic Lake Casino. What's it like fighting at Madison Square Garden and the Mandalay Bay? Two meccas of, the MMA world.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's one of those things you see it. It's like as a kid or growing up, you want to be in a big arena, whatever sport you're playing, and under big lights and under a lot of eyes. But then like a week or so into it, and then the training takes over and your focus takes over, and it's almost like that's just your reality now. It's just normal. It's sure. I don't want to say I'm taking it for granted or anything, but it's it's not something I put on a pedestal of some sort. You know what I mean? It's just like another fight in a way, another venue in a way. And it's something like when I retire and I'm drinking liquor on a porch and I'm old, I'll be like, yeah, I fought there someday, or I fought there years ago. But for now, it's just kind of focus and tunneling in and just got to just do the job, not really focus on the venue or any of that.
Right. So you're in New York right now.
Yep.
And it looks like you're getting some breaking a sweat and everything. How's the weight cut going?
Yeah, we just kind of got this first blowout after the flight, so it was pretty nice. Yeah, my weight's on track, man. Feel good. So no
awesome.
complaint.
So obviously the winning the PFL tournament is a massive accomplishment, but you get a big fat check for $1 million. Any plans for the million if you're victorious?
Yeah, I gotta pay off this house. I got student loans that are about to start getting calls about those, and gotta buy my cats a good cat tree. That's kind of what I want to do. One of those expensive ones.
Yeah.
And, maybe I'll just go blow half of it on one color roulette in Vegas or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Alex, I'm gonna spend it on some stupid stuff a little bit, but then I gotta save up.
Yeah.
Money goes.
I understand. Alex, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you're busy, and I really appreciate, taking the time out, just days out. Tell the fans at home where they can watch this fight, give some shout outs to your sponsors, and anything you want to say, the floor is yours.
Yeah, just shout out to Chosen Few Gym, all my training partners, coaches, everyone for getting me ready. Got my crew out here, my family, my girlfriend for the support. I want to thank Angel, Parcel Logistics, as well as Pilot Fish. And then, tune on in ESPN2 New Year's Eve. Don't want to miss it.
Yep. Well, we appreciate your time as always, and we wish you the best of luck. And we know you're going to do Madison proud. So we appreciate the time, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
You bet. Take care.
Yeah, you too.